Oh, there we go. Hey, guess what, you guys? We're on just with no intro music or anything. I just said it. Just clicked on, and there she is. Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick.
Hi, guys.
The legend.
Yeah, the lady, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
How you say that?
That's right. That's right. And so Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick, no, obviously everybody, I mean, most of the people that watch here know that you're literally used to be a rocket scientist and then got into genealogy and pretty much are the sort of the founder of what we now know as investigative genetic genealogy. And she has a company now called Identifinders International, which we have sent, heck, I think it's like $110,000 over the years or something to it.
Yeah. Thank you, Gray. The freaks are very generous. We still have some in the kitty waiting for some, the so-called torso. Okay, we'll get up to that later. But, thank you, freaks. We're really working hard for you. Yeah,
so we've got, I think, 2 or 3 cases we're currently working on, and maybe we'll do an update on that at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe today or some other show or something.
Yeah, some other show, because I wasn't ready for you to ask me, and I have to go look back and everything through the records.
Oh, good. Then let's talk about that. Then. No, I'm just kidding. You guys see that? The way she rolled her eyes at me there?
Okay, everybody back on the bus.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, you've been following the Nancy Guthrie case. Today we know that they, apparently there was unidentified DNA that they found in the house. And what do you think when they say that they found unidentified DNA in the house? Don't you think that that would be something significant in the house? Maybe you could give an example. Like they're not just swabbing a countertop or something,
No. They evidently have stuff in the house where they touched. He was in the house for how many minutes or whatever. He touched some, but then he had gloves on too. And I think he had 2 pairs of gloves. It's just too much, too thick. And so I think I don't know. They have DNA in the house, and who knows who it is. It could have been a worker that came, a few weeks earlier. I mean, DNA hangs around.
Yeah, it could have been earlier, but don't you think they would have chosen an item that they're fairly certain came from? It's not just some like, here's a doorknob or something. I mean, I guess it could be the doorknob, but it's like a lot of people would touch that. It seems like it would be something in the house that they know likely came from.
I don't know. I really don't know. You don't swab the whole house, because the problem is Nancy's DNA is in the house too. So, you're going to have a mixture there, and that's a problem. So I don't know, occasionally maybe he left something in the house. Maybe there was something there that belonged to this guy, and he left something in the house, and they say, well, it's got to be, can't be Nancy's, got to be somebody else's. That's a possibility. Maybe he picked up her cell phone, maybe.
Yeah. So they had that. And then, let me show you over here, because it's kind of interesting. Like they have this on this map here. This is Nancy's home right here. And they found this glove, but now it turns out this might not be where the glove was found, but it made sense. Like it was found right. The one that we saw was found right there. And it's perfect. It's like if you were right here and you made your way out to the main road, you drive down, and on the passenger side, but that side of the road, it was right there. But now they're saying that maybe it was a glove, that's not the glove, and it was some other glove that was found within 2 miles. So it's like now it's so frustrating, the reporting on.
Yeah, I can't help you on that.
It's been all over the place. But anyways, it's a glove that they found, and they said it looks like the one in the video.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Well, who knows?
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. And the thing is the glove has DNA on it. That's unknown. That's not one of the ones that they have. And they tested both of them, and neither of them were in CODIS. And they started crying on the news. Like we were watching the news, and they're like, oh man, this is it's like they acted like it was the end of the world, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
it's really. I mean, they weren't in CODIS, great, but you can do IGG, right? I mean, on all of it.
Yeah. Well, they can now. If it's a mixture, they can. But if it's just a single source or almost single source, something like that, sure, they can do DNA on it.
Yeah. So apparently, I thought what would have been a home run would be if the unidentified DNA in the home matched the DNA on the glove.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It would have been huge, right? But it didn't. And it didn't match. So now you've got two unknown profiles. Now it seems unlikely that one of them, now you're going to go, well, there was two people. Really? So one threw a glove, and the other one touched.
Yeah. No.
I don't know. It's but if you're going to,
I'm telling you, the agencies are working really hard, and there's so much speculation. There's so many stories. There's so much that, I really, hope they manage, because they're really working hard, and yet they're up against this tidal wave of, assumptions and, people that have speculations going out there and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I don't have any chat here. It's like
I think you just hit that. Don't you see a window where you see you and me and
it's private chat. Here we go. Comments.
There you go.
Hi everybody. I get you now.
Yeah, they're all over the place. But hey guys, when you're watching, don't forget to help support the channel. A lot of the money that we bring in goes to identify and other charities out there. So when you're not supporting the channel, we're not able to do that.
Yeah. Look, guys, thank you so much. You've been really good to us. And I'll come back and make a report, but not tonight, because we've got to cover Nancy.
Yeah. So maybe I've tried to explain it, but maybe you can, like you've done 17,000 times, probably yawning, whatever. But you could explain how it would work now that it's not in CODIS. What happens next?
Well, let's see. Normally now we've been going to genealogy a lot. And so what they're doing is they sent it to the lab. It's called DNA Labs International. Great lab, wonderful people. And I think they just sent the whole, the sample out there instead of sending it here, sending it there, sending everywhere. Just send it to DNA Labs International, let them do the whole thing, which I agree with. So what they're doing probably now is sequencing the DNA if they haven't already done that, sequencing it and getting the SNP profiles, all the SNP data we need to get the genealogy done. So that takes maybe a day or so. So I don't know if they were doing it in parallel or if they started it after the CODIS hit, didn't match. And that was, I think they started on, the CODIS, they knew it didn't match today. So
are they doing IGG right now on it? Do you think?
I don't know. It usually takes a couple of days to get the data, because they've got to warm up the DNA, and then they cool it and they warm it and they, replicate it, and they do all kinds of stuff. I'm not really sure. They put it in the microwave, and when it's, they put it on defrost or something like that. And then they don't have it on defrost, and they got to do it again. And it's only 50% power on the microwave. I don't know. So then whatever they do, it takes a couple of days.
Yeah. So that's the lab in Florida, right?
Yeah. They keep saying we send to a lab in Florida. Well, now the cat's out the bag, and it's DNA Labs. And I knew that, but I couldn't say anything until now.
Is it a pretty reputable place? Like they're really good?
Yeah, I talked to them, I texted this morning, and they were telling me stuff. So, I mean, not about the case, but, they were saying that, something, or it was in the news, or somebody, did I see the article or something like that? They weren't commenting on the case. They can't do that.
Right. And then, but maybe you can explain just the genealogy part of it. I mean, there's a lot of people that are just, I got to tell you, it's amazing listening to the news. Nobody on the news knows what the hell they're talking about.
I know, it's so, and then they called my company Identifiers Forensic Genealogy.
Yeah. And they really, but when they talk about it, they go, all right, so they can just upload it to a place like Ancestry, and get relatives and stuff. And I'm like, no, that's absolutely 100% not how it works at all.
I know it's and all the states have genealogy databases, and you can just dip, and if it doesn't work in CODIS, they send it to the state genealogy database. It's like, whoa, hold on.
It's unbelievable, especially with all the cases, you've been in them and you solved them. And there's been hundreds of cases, and you would think after all this time, they'd be all well-versed in talking about it, but they're not. So anyways,
I'm doing my best to, somebody says dumb stuff, I say, well, wait a minute, it's not really like that. So I'm doing my best to plow through. It's actually getting better now. At first people were saying, hey, can I use my CODIS profile for genealogy? And I'd say no. But now people are almost getting it right. It's like calling me Fitzgerald. It's almost right, and they got the right country. They got the right ethnicity, but it's the way you spell the end of the last name that goes wrong. So they almost got it. It's, in college, they made a clerical mistake. I lived off campus, and I was the next person before me on the list was Linda Eichblot. And the lady crossed it, and they started calling me Linda Fitzblot. So you see, that would be like egregious, like people used to say, can I use the CODIS marker for genealogy? You see, that would be the same parallel.
Yeah.
And I started having to call people and say, this is Linda, and they knew who I was. But if I said Colleen, they really didn't have any idea after that.
How many markers? They use 22 or 3 markers now. I can't remember what the number
for
is.
What? For what?
CODIS used to be 12, right? Now it's like more.
What? 12
for CODIS markers.
I think it's 20. I think it's 20.
Yeah, that makes it even. That's why you get into the octillion numbers, because now they've added 8 more, right? Because it used to be
12. They weren't satisfied with the octillion, so now they got quadrillion billion or so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people are never satisfied.
So let's say once you get the it doesn't work. CODIS didn't work. So you've got the DNA, and then you send it to maybe just walk through the process. Who gets it next? If you're doing genealogy, right? So what happens next?
That's the end. The genealogy goes in to the sequencer, and they sequence it, and they get all the SNPs. They get 1.2 million SNPs. And then they take that and they throw it up on GEDmatch or Family Tree DNA. And then they look at, from that, they get a list of DNA cousins. And that tells pretty much, the family, kind of broken pieces of the family, because it's cousin, aunt, something. And then you kind of put it all together in a network where everybody connects appropriately to everyone else. And then finally, you have this whole network, and there's one piece missing. And, there's mom and dad had a bunch of kids, and the guy's one of them. So anyway, I think it's
but you do it's more. It's really complicated a lot of times to get to where you can narrow it down, right?
Well, it's like a big Sudoku puzzle. If you have, I think everybody knows you get a list of DNA cousins, so it depends. What they do is they put your DNA in the sequencer, and it comes up with maybe it calculates it, or it analyzes it on 1.2 million points called SNPs. So then you take the 1.2 million points and you throw it in a big supercomputer, and then they look at everyone else in the database, and they find out how many points they share with you. So, it may be half. If it's half, it's a good day, because that's a parent or a child.
That's represented by centimorgans, right?
Well, yeah, it is. It's like it's not just marbles in a jar with 1.2 million. It's sort of, they gang up with each other. You get like clumps of them, so to speak, and that's the unit of that is centimorgans. So, so the more DNA they share, you share, the closer you're related, and the fewer points or SNPs you share, the more distant you're related. So they give you this whole long list of people you're related to. And since they are related to you, they're related to each other. and they have to be related either through blood or through marriage. So you have all these people that are related to each other. So you start building their family trees, and you build and build, and they start connecting because two people are cousins. They have the same grandma, and this one has the same great grandma, and so on. And pretty soon you keep doing that, and people connect, and you have two networks. Half of the people, ideally, will be all related, and the other half will be all related. And that's mom and dad's tree there. You just got to find mom and dad now. So one person marries in one network, marries a person in another network, and that's the parents. And when their children connect to mom and dad and all the other DNA cousins in the story. So all the siblings have the same genealogy. So you can't tell, when we get to our level, we can't tell them apart. You know, they all, then we have to tell, we had one case with 9 brothers, and we can't, half of them, one of them was deceased, one wasn't in the city, a couple of them were too old, a couple of them too young. So you get within 3 or 4 of those, and then the police took over at that point.
Yeah.
So that's how I hope everybody got that. But in the end, it's just a big Sudoku puzzle.
And then, well, see, that's where it's sort of like a tip, though. See, that's why they call it that, because you say, hey, it's one of these kids. And then you might be able to tell them, well, it's likely not this one, this one lived in that town. So you might start there, And then they look at it, does it make sense at that point?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a lead, although in the near future, it won't be anymore. In the future, it will be. I predict in a few years. That's the way, if CODIS doesn't work, we're going to go fall on genealogy. Because it was accepted. Well, genealogy was not ruled admissible in the Gilgo Beach court, in that trial with Rex Herman. But all of the technology, all the sequencing and the rootless hair and everything was allowed to go into court. The next thing might be the genealogy is brought into argument and discussion. That might come up next. But all of the technology leading to that in that case was ruled admissible, and therefore the door is open to continue the trial with Mr. Herman.
Yeah. I don't know if they need, in his case, I don't know if genealogy was ever done, though, was it? It was just kind of like...
Yeah, well, I think what happened, I'm not really clear, but I think the hair on the burlap was his wife's and his daughter. I'm not sure they ever found his DNA. They may have. Do that. I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember what was the thing that led them right to him. I know it was the pizza. I think it was genealogy, right? Because there was the pizza box.
Although, that's right. But they already knew his name by that time. So
yeah, I think they did. He may have had a hair on one of the burlap or one of the sacks or something. They did get his wife. They did have his daughter, but I don't know. I think they had to have him, that. And then the pizza box was the reference, to show that
proof. Like Koberger's, the trash that led to his dad. Yeah.
Yep. And so anyway, that's what's going to happen. Then, we don't know. People keep asking me, how long is it going to take? And I say, hell if I know, in more polite terms. We've done cases immediate, and we've done cases, it took 5 years or more. So we don't know. But if anything, we will get information. We will get the ethnic background. We will perhaps get nationalities of, what like I'm Irish and a little bit German and French. So, we get that information. We might get geographic information. We had a case from out here in Orange County, 1968, Jane Doe, and they thought she was from New York because of how she dressed and everything. And it turned out when we got her DNA cousins up and we looked, they were all from Maine. She was from Maine. And I think I was narrowing down on the exact county for a while, but then a bunch of other stuff happened and we figured it out. 13 days, I think it took us.
Yeah, I mean, I think IGG is it's just going to get better and better and better and better.
Yeah, it's really smoking these days. So if he's half Moroccan and half Caucasian, we're going to know that. And that's a lead, even if he's not Irish, say he's 100% Moroccan, that's a lead.
Yeah, I heard on the news the other day, I was watching Fox News, and this expert came on and he goes, I found out something amazing. You can take somebody's DNA, and there's this company that can actually make a sketch. It'll show you what he would look like. I was like, what do you mean? This has been around for 10 years. It's huge. The snapshot.
Well, and it's been discredited. It's just I mean, where's
you
he
get the right freckle amount and stuff like that.
Where's that guy been living? Like on another planet or something?
It's been something that's been around for a long time. It's not new. Anything. I don't know how we would just even. That's just crazy to me. Couldn't believe it.
Well, I really don't know. It's like OJ in the criminal trial was found innocent, and then when they went to do the civil trial, they had trouble looking for people that didn't know about the case because they needed somebody who was, completely like innocent on what they knew and did. So finally they found somebody that had not even heard of it. The guy worked a lot, didn't watch TV, didn't know what was going on. And he was on the comedians were joking that he was on the first jury trial. That's why he didn't know anything about anything that happened.
Yeah, that's crazy. So right now you have there's a glove, and then there's the unknown DNA in the house.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could do IGG simultaneously on both of them. And just see the other one's a total fish. Remember that one case that we did where you did the cigarette butt in Oregon?
Oh yeah,
it's just like that. That's what this is for the glove, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. That was up in Oregon, wasn't it, or Washington?
Yeah, we're Oregon. That was so crazy because that case, the DNA on the cigarette butt actually led to a criminal, but he happened to be in jail at the time of the murder. And then when they, I guess at some point they were chasing around, and he took his own life in the woods somewhere. It's like, man, how could he not be involved?
You never know. There's always, this is interesting at least to me, Phoenix Canal murders. When they first gave me the Y profile, it was in this table, and I picked the wrong column, and I did the wrong Y profile. So I got a name, and I reported it, and I said, it's in the first column. And they say, no, it's really the third column. So I went back to work, right? So then I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, where'd that first column come from? And they said it was from a piece of chewing gum that was left at the scene of the crime in like 1992 or 3. And I'm sitting there thinking, from what this tool is, I can predict who was chewing gum at that GPS location in 1992. Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's like,
you really can't get away with anything anymore. It's
right. I mean, it just seems like there's so many, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a coincidence or whatever, but it's just like, there's so many crazy things that happen in cases. The glove that was, so that's just going to be a fishing expedition where the DNA in the house might be more likely to be something.
Well, the glove, who knows? And they can identify who it is. If it's a guy, who visits from college and he wasn't even there at the time, you rule things out. Now, just ruling things out, people might be, oh, God, negative. Oh, but they ruled somebody out. That's positive, right? They know something.
Well, they know the glove isn't related. And I guess they're going to come back with names for both of those, the glove and in the house. What you hope is the DNA in the house is just some total, somebody that's, they're not in CODIS, so they haven't been in prison yet or anything. Or
no. Well, even if they have something from the house, they're not going to announce who it is. They may say, oh, it was the, lawn care specialist, or it was the real estate agent, or something like that.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell you, but what they're going to say is, but there's probably a lot more evidence than are they're looking, thinking what else. And there's probably, how long was he in the house?
Yeah. Well, well, my theory is he was in the house from 2:12 to 2:28 and then left.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
2:12 is when it picked up motion. And I think he was outside waiting to see if cops would show up after removing the light, the camera. And then he drove up front and he was going to abduct her.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you, you said, the thing with the backpack and everything, was that that was earlier, right?
I think that's right around the 147. Like, I wouldn't surprise me, I was trying to put the little plant up on the light.
Yeah. Now that was when he went in the house, or that was earlier?
I think that's just when he's disabling it, because there's no other motion on any other cameras until 2:12. And I believe it's an outdoor camera, because the sheriff made a comment accidentally, the FBI agent's behind him, and he said, yeah, well, it picks up, so the camera picked up motion of a person. Now, I guess it could have been an animal or something, and then the FBI agent looked at him like, because then why would it be an animal if it was inside, right? So it's like that was probably the camera on the outside of the pool house area, or that little building over there. I mean, I can show you on the map if you want. Here, I can do it right here.
Yeah. Well, I'm confused. So you say he went to the porch with his backpack, and then he went away. And then
no. Well, first he showed up. Remember, there's a picture with him without a backpack.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so I think he probably went there and just kind of looked in, and then he went back and got his backpack and the gun, and then he goes to the front door, because now he's doing stuff, so he's got to be prepared for anything.
Yeah. Do you have a picture? Do you have a picture of him without the backpack? Do you happen to have that?
I think I have it somewhere in here. I don't remember where I put it, so that's the problem. I was looking for it the other day. But I'll just say then after that, right around 147, he is over at the door and he's trying to put that grass up there, and then eventually.
But he's got the backpack. He's got the backpack.
Right, yeah, because he went back to his car. He got the backpack. See, let's say it's 140 or so. He's looking in there and he doesn't have his backpack. He's just looking in the same thing.
I didn't see that.
And then he walks back to his car that he probably has parked down the street, gets a backpack, and then he gets the gun, and now he's ready to go. And then he goes up to the front door. He's got the backpack on. He's trying to block the camera because he knows he's going to be coming out there. So then he ends up just breaking it off. We don't see that in the video. Then he goes back to the car and he waits for like 20. This is my theory. Waits for like 20 minutes or so, because he wants to see if anything he just did is setting off an alarm, and if cops are showing up.
The only thing with that is that the car parked there on the street, it's a strange car.
Well, I had him on a side street off the side.
Oh, okay.
Not just right there. I had him right here. Let me show you. Right over there.
Do you have a picture of him without the backpack? That's what I would like to know.
Well, it's somewhere. I just
no. Well, the thing is, I have never seen that. I have been watching very closely, and I didn't see that, and I just want to know if you made it up. That's all.
Oh, come on! Do you think I would make something up? Jeez. Let's see.
I want you to just prove what you said, because I don't really know.
Well, you guys have all seen it. We've seen it 1,000 times. I just can't find it in this folder that I'm in.
Yeah, right. See, you can't.
Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, so you don't have to believe it, but it's a real thing. Let's see. What day was that put out there? Was it like the 10th or before? No, it was way before that. Let me go look.
Yeah, let's.
What day was that put out? The 5th? I think it was like right when I went on my trip. Not on that one. The 10th. Because on the 10th, I have an image of holding something. So it's got to be like right before that or the same day. I think one of you guys out there, can you just send me an email with it? I'm sure you can find it. I do have it. I've shown it on the show.
Yeah, suppose they don't find it. I mean, any of you freaks, can you say that he really... It's going to
be the Mandela effect, because we all thought it existed, but it doesn't.
Yeah, he does have, somebody says he does have the picture.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody's vouched for you. Okay, is being strange. Okay, wait a minute. That's why people thought there were two people, but police never timestamped the camera shots.
It never
Okay,
looked like two people. I don't know why anybody would ever think that.
okay, anyway. Yeah, somebody, Jessica says she's seen it. No, there's definitely a
Well,
picture.
I have it in a folder somewhere.
Nobody, yeah, everybody has everything in a folder, you know.
See?
I have lots of things in a folder. It doesn't mean they exist.
Okay, let's see if I can find that real quick. It's not as commonly out there, though, I've noticed, for sure.
I don't know why.
Well, I think didn't I make a video of that? Yeah, let me go find it. I have a video, I think.
Okay, I'm standing by.
Hey, guys, if you guys could please help support the channel in here tonight. It's been a really rough day on all. I've done 2 videos, 1 live, 2 lives, a video, and a 3rd live. And we're not even at the minimum goal level. So if you guys could help support the channel, that would be great. Thanks. Now, let me see if I can get this. Might be in this right here. Hold on. I got a video here.
I got it. Wait a minute. Let me see it.
No, just a second. It froze. Uh-oh.
Well, that
Okay, there it is. I don't know if this is the one, to be honest, but let me just, there it is, right there. Right there. There it is.
Okay, wait.
That
Okay.
That's a creepy picture. He doesn't have a backpack, doesn't have the gun.
Yeah, okay. Is that just a still then?
That's all they released, a still. But he's right in that same arc.
And the flowers are still in place. He hasn't been digging in the garden yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell if anything's moved.
So what did he
I
do?
don't know the precise time of this.
Okay.
I would just think that he's not removing the backpack. He's not doing all that stuff.
Look. It says somebody Italian says, Italian in Laguna.
He says a lot of crazy stuff. Well,
Yeah, right pocket. Looks like
right pocket, right. I think he might have a gun in the right pocket.
Sticking out
there.
Maybe a walkie-talkie. Who knows?
Yeah, he could have a gun in the pocket.
Saliva would be on the mouth flashlight, his saliva. So therefore, transferred to glove when that's interesting.
Yeah, the mouth. Everybody's been saying that too. The mouth flashlight.
He's got like a mouth flashlight.
Right.
Yeah, he returned to get his supplies. Yeah. Well, I don't think he was really well prepared. You know, I think he kind of fumbled a little bit because if he went, look, he goes, here's some question for everybody out there. You go, the guy's here, he looks a little bit, okay, nobody, whatever. He goes back, he gets his backpack, he comes up and he doesn't know about the camera. If he went and got the supplies, he could get a piece of tape, you know, or he could get a piece of cardboard out of the car or just some oil, even oil, squirting oil on it or water would disable it. No, but he doesn't. So what's the deal with this guy? You know, he should have gone to the car and got a piece of tape.
Right. He wasn't prepared for anything, but I think this is just prior. He looks in, just kind of glances in, and he goes back, gets the backpack. It seems like it'd be stupid to get rid of your backpack and gun when you're about to go into the house. So it seems like it's more likely it's before. So he went and got his gun, the backpack. He goes over here. He removes the camera. Eventually, then he goes back to his car and he waits for 20 minutes to see if a cop car shows up. And when it doesn't, he pulls up right here.
Yeah.
Right there, because right there is on the map is right here in front of the house. Here's the arch. So
that's granted. I know, but
and then after that, he got out of his car, and then he goes around, and then at 2:12, he's picked up on a camera on the side of the house right here, just before he breaks into this back door here, goes into the house.
No, wait, that's a lot of stuff there. And so what happens when he returns with the backpack? Where is he standing with the backpack? Point.
Well, yeah, okay. He's standing right inside this little archway. He's standing right there, even in the other image that we were just looking at.
Yeah, but why did he go around the back then? He's standing right there.
Because he's over here just to disable the camera, because he knows he's going to be coming out that way later with something, because he moves his car right to here.
Oh, okay.
And he walks out. So that would be at like 2:07. He parks right here because he waited for 20 minutes. This is just a theory. Then he gets out of the car, and then he goes through the back door because there was motion detected on an outdoor camera. We already know the one in the front has been disconnected, right? Yeah. So it has to be one of these other cameras back here that picked him up at 2:12.
Yeah, what's that green thing? Is that like what is the round? Just okay, it's kind of a funny shape.
Yeah, it's just grass or something.
Yeah, and then a pool in the back. Wow, okay, pretty nice. And the shed to the right has to be like just a small room, a storage, or probably storage or something.
Yeah.
Or a patio with a barbecue.
Yeah, so like on, I think in here probably have some other, I'm not sure, this is just a video that I made, but you can see it. And then this is expirated blood, so she was alive on the way out the door that people haven't mentioned. See that right there?
Yeah.
That's when she's being taken out to her car, and this is obviously like coughing and blood. Right.
Wait a minute.
That's right in the tile in the front door.
I didn't know they released that.
Huh? Oh, yeah, it's a video that Brian Enton put out. He walked up the driveway and filmed it right there.
Yeah, well, that's blood from the, straight down.
Yeah, straight down, and also out of her, she coughed. You can see
the could have been.
Nice and fine right there.
Yeah, could have been. And one of my friends, I think Holly is listening in. She said, "Wait a minute." She did send a link here. He's not trying to cover the camera. She says, "Hi, Holly, how are you?" He's using the stick to release the button on the back of the camera. So that's what she was saying. Here's a link to the stills. But she's saying that he was using the stick to, disable the camera.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody knows. I think he was just trying to put the grass to block the view because he was an idiot. And then eventually just goes, screw it, and like ripped it off or broke it off, whatever. And you can actually see in the same video, see this where the blood is right here?
Yeah.
Same video, you can look right up here in the upper left. That's actually part of the plant that he dropped on the ground.
Oh, okay.
It's right there. So it's like everything's right there in the shot.
Yeah. Well, I'm bringing up. I don't want to put the app. I don't want the X app.
There's the doorbell right there on the screen. See that? That's where it was ripped off of. That's it.
Yeah, but I thought it was ripped off.
Yeah, well, it looks like that part's the bracket that holds it there. It's pretty easy to get those.
Okay. The middle is missing. I think I got. No, I don't. Oh, wait a minute. Submit tips. Public info may be used for authorized purposes. Okay, I got the link to the Facebook thing. Oh, now I have a privacy thing I got to click on. This is complicated. This is too complicated for me.
What are you trying to open?
My friend Holly sent me a link to those pictures, I have it somewhere in a link. I just didn't know where to find it right away. On the show. That's all right.
I didn't think I was going to be grilled to the nth degree on, where is that damn picture?
Yeah, no, well, I just wanted to make sure because I had not seen anything like that. And this is silly. It's making me click 10 times and then I have to open Facebook and then I've got to open something else and I got to download the X app. And, Holly, thanks. It's a little bit too much. I'm just too old to be.
I get people that send me these, hey, Gray, I just have a couple thoughts. I open it up and it looks like War and Peace. I mean, this thing is like I could be sitting there reading this thing with diagrams, 75 pages long. Yeah. Like, dude, you think
I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know. And so, it's he evidently wasn't really into it, because he They say he didn't have tape for the camera. He did a couple of things, just wasn't really ready for showtime.
Yeah, so that could be his glove. He's that stupid. That's the thing is imagine he could be that dumb and just, I'm
somebody said that what could have happened is he had his glove in his back pocket and he went to go get his cell phone out and the glove fell out. It was a theory as of yesterday.
I mean, we can come up with all kinds of crap like that, right? Well, maybe he was holding it in his left hand and then he was looking at this bird that flew over and he went, whoa, and then he flew out and went over here. And
oh, really? Is that what happened?
Yeah, it's just those kind of things. When people come up with this really specific thing that could have happened. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a million things that could have happened. What we try to do is find the thing that likely happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have that. And so my theory that I just gave you a minute ago is using every available fact in the case.
Now, what that you mean the actual camera's missing there? What did they find it on the ground?
Yeah, I think it's missing. Apparently, these are battery operated, so it's. But here's the thing: even if it's still recording somewhere,
yeah,
like it's still recording because it had a battery. It's not sending anything to the Wi-Fi, so it's not going to store it. And plus, she didn't have her subscription. And
yeah, stop the whole thing about the subscription because that doesn't, all that means is Google's still collecting the data. It's just not giving it to you.
Right. You can't look at it. And they don't make it in a video format either. So they have to go back in and back engineer and make it look like a video.
Yeah. I'm telling you that all of these like Alexa, they like the camera right here on my computer. They're watching us as well as we watching them. So that's what happened. The FBI, they have to produce, they have these images and they would like to put them out because this is the guy. And so they have to say, well, how can we put those out? Because a lot of people don't know those cameras are running, even though you don't have a subscription. So they said, it was residual images. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, it's been one of the most frustrating cases that I've ever covered. It's fascinating too. I mean, there's enough information where you're interested, but every time you think of something, there's always a counter, when you go, okay, maybe it was a botched robbery attempt that went wrong. And then you think, well, why would you move the person out of the house? It just seems like a lot of work,
that's what I thought.
And you prepared to remove her, right? That's why the camera was disconnected. Yeah, you were coming out that door with something.
I was thinking that if he went to the wrong house and he went into the house, here he's looking for some business papers, something like that, something like that, and he doesn't see any. And oh my God, there's this old elderly woman in the house. Oh, wait a minute, who? Oh, well, now that I'm in too deep, now he's in too deep, like. Brian Koberger, I think, was just going to kill the one woman. Was it Madison, the first one that rejected him? And then she had somebody in the room with her. Okay, that guy goes, gets killed. That girl gets killed. And then he's trying to get away. And then another girl walks down the stairs and there she is. And they make eye contact. He chases her. She dies. And then she's got the boyfriend in the room and he dies. So it's like a domino effect, it's people there that, it's not really intended. So that's what I was thinking. Maybe he went to the wrong house and he goes in and it is a targeted attempt, but he gets in and he doesn't know, wait a minute, who is this? And that would somehow account for no motive.
Why would you take her out of there though?
Well, she can recognize him.
Yeah, that's right. See, that's the thing. That's one of the things I've thought for a long time that somehow she must know him, even though it's targeted, because there's been no ransom demand, legitimate.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. We don't think so. The first guy was lying and they caught him. And then they have two more that say, hey, if you give me 100,000, I'll tell you who took her. Yeah. Okay. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, the first two letters or so, the FBI thinks those might be from the person, but they never showed proof of life, so there was never really ever going to be a ransom. And maybe now it's just about I mean, why did you send it to TMZ? Right? Seems like somebody looking for a thrill seeing their story in the news.
Yeah, I know.
There's no reason.
Gotta turn the heater on. It's not going on. I was just cold. Okay, never mind. I'm back. No,
Thanks,
I know. The ransom notes are just really, they're just, I don't know if they're real. You know, this is kind of dumb. And you can get fingerprints off of ransom notes at the right, kind of the right way. But I mean,
those were all emailed, I think, though. So there's no.
Yeah. Oh, okay. They were emailed, which means you don't have fingerprints. But
I think they're emailed. I guess.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like. Maybe they use some crazy way they got it there. Maybe they did mail it. I don't know. I guess nobody's ever asked that question to them.
Yeah. Holly says it was planned. Look at the technology timeline, and it was planned. Well, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just wondering, one of the things that nobody's ever considered is, maybe, it was, well, anyway, now there's another picture. Still, a guy could have walked up to the house thinking it was somebody else's house, but I'm just throwing that out because I don't see that anywhere. Maybe I don't see it because it's a stupid idea. Well, I see a lot of other stupid ideas. So, we have to speculate that this may not be the only one. So
yeah. I think it was planned because really it comes down to that Nancy was removed from the house and that he blocked the camera. He tried to block it, and then he removed the camera in the front, knowing that he is going to park there before he even went in the house. See, that's the thing. It's like, why would you do that? You could have parked over by the garage, brought everything out there, got the hell out of there, and never been on that camera. But he knew he was pulling in a visible spot to that camera, and he merely was trying to block, cover it with a stupid weed, and then he removed it.
But no, I didn't see a car anywhere. He had to park out of the field of view.
Sorry, I gotta turn this. I was trying to get rid of this thing. Yeah. I mean, we don't. There's no car in the video, but obviously he had a car because she got retaken, and she can only walk like 50 feet. 50 yards.
But I'm saying that's fine. He could have carried her, but I don't think he carried her very far.
Yeah, I think he even got her. I think he probably had her by the arm and had a gun on her, and then she sort of kneeled down and did that coughing thing, and then stood up again because there's blood now. They have it going all the way to these steps right here. See this right there?
There's lots of blood. There's
not just a couple drops right here, just a couple drops, and then the car would be right there, right? And then you just sure, he could have walked her to a car over there, whatever.
No, So you saying he pulled the car up later?
Yeah, I think, like I'm saying, like at 1:47 before he's even gotten into the house, when he's got the backpack on and everything, he removes the camera from the door. Then after that, he goes back to, let's say his car is parked over here on the side street, like right there or something. He makes his way back over there and he waits 20 minutes to see if there's any sirens or any cars coming. He probably doesn't even sit in his car, just sort of stands by a tree so he can hide or get
right.
And he just waits and he just waits and he waits and he waits for 20 minutes. So that would be 1:47 and 20 minutes. That's 2:07, right? And then he walks back, then he gets in the car and then he drives the car over here and parks it right there at about 2:10.
Yeah.
Then he walks back to minimize the amount of time his car is there. He feels safe now. Then he goes back over here. And then this camera picks him up at 2:12. He goes inside the house and then he confronts Nancy, whatever, however that went down. And then he gets her. And as he's going out the door, that's probably around the time she lost connection with her phone at 2:28. And then he walks her to the car that's parked right there now and just takes off. See, it uses all the facts.
Can you back out so I can see where all the rest of the houses are?
They're all really, really close.
Oh, yeah. My friend, his stepdaughter lives really close, one of those houses, like 2 blocks away. He's going down there to see her in the next while. And he says they asked him to go through the yard step by step, do a grid search in the yard. I don't know if they'll ever find her, really. I'm so sorry to say that. I hope so. And I hope the DNA profile from the house tells us something. And they'll probably come out and say, hey, this is an investigative lead, or no, it's just some guy. He's a yard worker and he was at home with his 3 kids watching Netflix at night. There's something like that might happen.
Thank you up there to buc-ee and SBA. Yeah, somebody's claiming that there's a car in the video, and it's just
And the guy says, "Why do you have a full backpack for a robbery? You know, you don't want you want an empty backpack for a robbery." Yeah, now that is after. Now wait a minute, that is after.
I think it's after the still frame.
Yeah, move your cursor. The little arrow is right in the middle of everything, and thank you.
Wait a minute, right there.
Move it. I see that all the time. Somebody says, "Oh my God, isn't this interesting?" The little arrows right in the middle.
But it wasn't covering anything important.
Yeah. Well,
how do you know, Gray? It could have been a.
See, look, the backpack is full, and it's even stuff coming out of the top.
Yeah, it's open.
It's not even zipped up. It's so full.
Or he's just, got something out of it. Maybe even had some of the gun and the I don't know. Maybe the gun was in the backpack.
Yeah. You look at this. There's got to be something in there that people.
I was just looking at this again. See that little? I mean, there's something in that pocket.
Yeah. Now his two shiny things are what from the backpack? Those two shiny things, or are those lights that he's some kind of weird?
Yeah, they're actually just reflectors on his backpack. That because of the type of night vision, it's just going to make it look like that. Yeah.
Okay. That looks so. I don't know. It just he wasn't. There goes that little. Yeah. Thank you. That it just.
That's a light in his mouth right there.
Yeah. That just
isn't that the creepiest picture you've ever seen? Almost. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that is pretty creepy. I mean, I'm telling you, it's so weird. There's so, and rightly so. The police agency is not releasing any. There's probably more that they know, more that they suspect, more that they know. But the thing is, too, excuse me, the guy was very relaxed, and he doesn't really worry about anything. I
absolutely agree. We've talked about that. He just looks like, he almost seems, that's where I started thinking, is this just some like psycho, I mean, like he's not there, connected to something else. Because he's just so casual, We've seen other kids. You remember Missy Beavers? You remember that one? No. Missy Beavers with the guy dressed up as a cop walking around in a church before he killed her. You don't remember that?
No, I don't.
Oh, very similar to that.
Was that recent?
No, it's like 8 years ago or something. I mean, it's.
I don't know, but
very similar. Just walking around, and then he ends up like shooting this lady who showed up later.
Yeah, and somebody said his right hand never moved. So
right, a lot of people say a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it could be. I just feel so sorry for her. And this I've watched the body language experts and stuff like that. They say he doesn't blink. Sorry, it's been a long day. He doesn't blink, but he's so he's not nervous.
We can spice this really up. Let's say he's got a prosthetic right hand.
No, come on.
Oh, come on. We can do it, man.
We're walking across the bridge now. We're walking across the bridge to Never Land now.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, but he's right. But the right hand doesn't really move a lot. He doesn't seem to really do anything.
Yeah, he doesn't even move his left hand much either until he grabs that little. Look at his left hand doesn't do a damn thing either until now when he picks up something, and now the right hand's touching it. So there's equal activity with both his left and his right hand.
I thought somebody might be on to something there.
Yeah, no.
So what's he doing? He's getting ready to pull the plug on that camera now.
Well, I think right now he's trying to place this on there to block the view.
Yeah.
What's weird is, that's all there would be, right? I mean,
why bother? Move the cursor, by the way.
Well, you don't want me to point right at where he's.
No, I don't. That's it. That's really great. Yeah, there's no. Oh.
And here's this. So let me show you. I'll show you these two. These are Brian Enton's.
Now the blood. So the blood, there was a trail of blood, right?
So here's the door right here. So this is where it is. Okay, so. Yeah. There's that grass that the guy was just trying to put on the or plant, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And then you go right there's that ring camera.
Yeah, that's just awful. Oh, that's really.
And then there's another video. I think it's this one. It's got a little bit more distance.
Well, let's look. I want to see. So the blood started at the door, outside the door.
Yes, it's just kind of like right in this area it starts, and then it goes kind of like you can see her kind of going down over here and then straighten back out. And she's never going to step on her own blood because it's going to hit her foot, or she'll just keep moving. So
well, the blood could be inside too. You don't know that.
Well, there is blood inside. Yeah.
Okay, so then she walks forward. There's no blood on the doormat, I imagine, or nobody.
Yeah, we don't know. There could be.
Okay, so.
And these are a foot, I believe. So 1, 2, 3.
And there's no footprint in the blood.
Somebody thought maybe that was a really small partial thing, but I don't.
Yeah, so there's little drips of blood, little drips, and some bigger drip. Okay, so that looks like a cough or a splash, and that's all Nancy's blood. No other people.
Yeah, that's Nancy's. So, and then it leads all the way. Then there's some on right next to the driveway. So that means that she was moved. She made it all the way down there. It's not like. So that's when she was being removed.
So it's all the way to the driveway. The blood drops.
Well, basically, where he has it, when Fox News went out there, they have it a couple drops right there. So that, and what we're looking at is way inside there by the door. Yeah. So obviously, it made it quite a ways down there, and then we just have a car here and put her in it and get the hell out of there.
The thing is, we have to, hope they find her. They're doing the best they can, but it's like MH370. We'll find it one day.
Well, hopefully this isn't that. This is, I think, a little bit, seems like it'd be a lot more solvable, don't you think?
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't. I think there's more evidence about what happened to 370 than there is to Nancy Guthrie.
Yeah, well, let's say you. I think if they can backtrack any surveillance they have, even if it's through the bushes, because you can continually watch a vehicle that time of day, because it's or that time of night, because it's so late and nobody drives around. I think this is sort of like a elderly neighborhood, and I just think like there's not a lot of people moving around. So if you can find any movement at all between 2:30 and I would even do like 2:20, even though we know it was 2:28 when she was being removed, but like 2:20 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and just any movement at all, and see if you can isolate where it came out of and then track backwards, because you might be able to find a street where there's a camera here and a camera there, but a street that comes out, and if it shows up on one camera and not the other, that means it came out on that side street. Then you go down that street and you keep tracking back and then see if you can ever get a good shot of the vehicle. And I think they might have a good idea of the vehicle. That's why two of the different people pulled over now have something similar kind of vehicle.
Yeah, Holly's saying that she thinks the suspect is in CODIS. Well, I can't agree with you or not, because they don't have a CODIS yet.
Right.
Independent of being adopted or not. They don't have a CODIS yet, so he's not in there.
Yeah. Well, when people say that means they've already got a suspect, and that person's in CODIS, so that's what.
No, it could be the CODIS has a forensic area. Profiles from crime scenes that aren't identified. So they'd have a hit on something, either an unknown profile or somebody, they caught him and they put him in there.
Yeah, they put like offenders in there too that are unknown, like sexual assaults.
Yeah, so if that was the case, then.
But what I'm saying is, I think this person thinks that they know who it is and has a CODIS representation, and they're telling you in a sideways way that, oh yeah, they're definitely in CODIS.
Yeah,
because they think they know who it is. That's what.
No, she says he's in CODIS because he said, no, he's not in CODIS. There was no, well, let's put it this way. He could have been, but the DNA in the house does not match CODIS. And the DNA on the glove does not match. So we don't know. If the DNA in the house is his, then It's
I think the
brand,
DNA and the glove had very little chance. You know, it was very. It's like very unlikely to be somebody, just
yeah.
based on it's 2 miles away. It's a glove in the middle, you know, and,
Well,
and that's
let's,
just
yeah, we're not, this is like nothing to go on, almost nothing. Well, the public,
yeah. I have hope in the unknown DNA in the house, just
mhm,
doing genetic genealogy.
yeah, we were all hoping. Holly keeps commenting. Yeah, it could be. Wait, I mean,
Who's Holly? Is Holly in the chat over here, or just on your phone?
yeah, this guy's DNA. Okay, wait. This guy's DNA hasn't been processed from
Hey,
his.
Holly, let her do the show.
I
Let's see.
think he didn't lock the back. Okay, well, the DNA hasn't been processed from his car yet. Well, we don't have his car.
Right.
Home DNA did not match CODIS. We know that. Yeah, so,
Right.
oh gosh.
She's in the chat. Yeah. All right. Let's see. I guess is that automated license plate reader? Yeah, that might be something pretty good. Or what about that crazy sniffer thing that they're doing on the helicopter?
What's that?
They actually have a high-tech Bluetooth sort of amplifier, and they're flying around trying to get a signal from Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker that would still be working, even if she,
Oh,
her particular kind still,
oh,
even if she's not alive, still
yeah.
it's something. It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, there's Collie again. I'm having multiple conversations, so forgive me if let me see what's going on. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Sorry, I'm not being rude, freaks. I'm real actually being.
Well, your friends, you said your friends somehow are watching you, and then they're like texting you privately.
Okay, says new guy detained. They took his car, DNA from Saturday, not back yet. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Yeah, but the house and the glove don't,
Jeez.
if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit, something like that.
Do you know these people?
Who?
The people that are texting you?
Yeah, of course I know.
Mm.
Yeah,
I thought
okay.
maybe on Facebook or something.
Yeah, no, anyway, I guess I'm not up to date. Some guy got arrested and they have DNA from his car or something. So see if it matches the house. It might be.
It's weird. Southern Mom doesn't show up on StreamYard, so I don't know. I couldn't put it on.
Well, thanks for that. I saw a
Okay.
donate to this is good. Gray has good stuff here.
Yeah, come on, guys. Do you hear that?
Detained and released. Okay. Let's see my full on-air title. I don't know. It's just there's nothing to go on. I mean, how did this guy?
I mean, you're listening to people that just have the same theories, but a little bit more out there than normal people.
Yeah.
See, right now, the case is sort of this in a simple place on our end is that she got dropped off at home at 9:48. The garage door opens. Then at 9:50, the garage door shuts. Then obviously at some point she went to bed. She's in her house, and then somebody broke into the house at 2:12 after disconnecting the front door camera at 1:47. At 2:12, they're picked up in the backyard going into the house. Then eventually they take her out the front door to a vehicle and take off. Now, how we can figure out who did it from there is, anybody's luck.
Pretty flat, Hey, maybe I can learn something from this guy if I want to go rob the neighbors or something. He seemed to know what he.
Well, you have said there. We just saw before. I told him that you're signing somebody's moving out, so maybe you can figure something out of that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you were talking about the snifter from the helicopter on the how long can the pacemaker would go forever. I mean, the batteries in a pacemaker don't need to be recharged that often. So if she's around, that pacemaker is still working.
Yeah, that's interesting because I guess there's other ones that go into sleep mode.
Mm-hmm.
but hers apparently is one that keeps going. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's, that gives a chance at something, you know?
Yeah. The thing is, yeah, the pacemaker, that's really interesting. I wonder how they could detect that. Because a pacemaker, you know, really is supposedly impervious to outside radiation. It used to be if you stood next to a microwave with a pacemaker, you know, it wasn't a good idea. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I guess what they were saying was, I mean, obviously it sends a signal outside of the body to the phone, and it's actually a findable thing. Apparently, you know when you turn on your phone and you got your Bluetooth over there, and you select it, it shows up like that. So this thing amplifies that, so that apparently from like 150 feet or whatever, I don't remember what the number was, you can still see it. So like you could be helicoptering over an area, but I mean, that is just a needle in a haystack though.
Yeah.
Look, if you don't know who did it, how in the hell are you going to know where they may have put her? You know, it's just,
see, look at that whole landscape there. And, you know, she could be in Mexico now.
Yeah. And the other day I saw, it looked like that, the helicopter, I wrote down the code on it that does the, sniffing. I got it. I think it's right. Let's see. I don't have it on this one, but it flew up in the mountains and was on these side back roads. So maybe a place somebody could have run somebody up. I mean, that's just an absolute, you know, guess in the dark, I guess.
Yeah. Look at all the landscape there. There's so much, you know, and, you know, I was wondering, he must not have had a cell phone. You know, did he keep his cell phone away? Because with cell phones, you can do geofencing, you know, geofencing. So he must not, that's really interesting. He didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he probably knew that. And here's the thing. What do you think about this? See, when I went to Idaho and I drove around in the back streets to follow Koberger's path.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had to drive it like 5 times before I figured it out, right? This is the same thing. This is worse. Like, look at these streets here. There's no way in hell you'd remember how to get there. And so the person must have been there multiple times. And so they probably, you know, because they're not going to have a cell phone on looking at their maps, or they already catch the person by now. So, I mean, somebody did mention maybe they had a burner and they use their mapping. But, I mean, if it's a burner, you can still track it. It would still show up on the geofencing thing as a burner, and then you'd have to sort of track that and see where that went. But,
well, you know, Rex Herman had a lot of burner phones, and they pretty much tracked him.
Yeah, that didn't help them out at all.
No, it didn't really. He tried, but no, we're too slow.
I mean, he's like the perfect example of when you go to a crime scene. I can't remember what the name of what that's called, but you leave something. Every criminal leaves something and takes something from a crime.
Low cards principle.
Right. So there you go. That's the name of it. Yeah. So that's he is like the perfect example of that. You know, in the burlap sacks, there was like hair from his daughter, his wife, and then one of his ex-girlfriends was in another one, and one of the earlier cases. Crazy.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm looking at the comments, see if anybody.
You guys have any questions for her? I mean, she's a DNA expert.
Yeah.
Let's do some questions. Super chats are prioritized.
Craig from Craigslist says I sound like his aunt. Thank you, Craig. I'm sure she's a nice person. Who was your guess? Because I just woke up somebody from Poland is calling in. Is that NF 595? Oh, I've been to Poland. I really like it. I want to go back.
I don't even see that.
Yeah, please do not share your opinions as fact. That's fine. You know, it's only opinions. Let's see. And when
people say this is what the difference is when somebody says, "Oh yeah, this guy, he's been in prison 5 times for sexual assault," and then you go, "Well, don't state that as a fact. Say, I think this guy might have been in prison for, you know." Yes, people pretend like it's a fact on all these different things, and we don't do that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a needle in the haystack, the whole thing. You know, it just, I don't know. And what's the motive for all this? To get back to Savannah for something? What could she do?
Yeah, somebody was saying that maybe it was a stalker. I think that was a pretty good theory. A stalker of Savannah who then, out of frustration, planned to go in and do something to Savannah's mom, sort of like to get back at her. And look what devastation it's caused Savannah. I mean, lots of just, I mean, I don't think the Olympics has anything to do with it, but I mean, it's just totally upended her life. And they'll never get back to normal unless they have her body or get her back alive.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I have to agree that I don't know. The poor sheriff too. I really support him 100%. You know, he's in the hot seat. He's doing the best he can, but not to make, you know, the parallel again with MH370. You get to a point you just really can't do anything, and so you hope that you never get to that. You know, they really are looking through the house. The man was in the house. He had to have something. He had to leave something or pick something up. You know, so.
Yeah. Hey, but you guys have any questions just for her? If you put it in a super chat, we'll see it right away.
Yeah.
That's what they're for, by the way. Like a super chat is like you put it in there to ask a question and then it comes back out.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I mean, that's what they're mainly for, but a lot of people they're just supporting.
I wanted to know what city is ANAP in? ANAP? Is it 595? She's in Poland. She's listening from Poland. Isn't that great?
Hold on. There was one in here. I just saw it.
Yeah, no.
Super chat. Where is that one? It says, can you describe how DNA profiles are distinguished when collected in a household when multiple relatives are routinely present?
Yeah, well, the thing is, mixtures are a problem. You know, mixtures, you know, genetic genealogy doesn't do real well with mixtures. It can only do really mixtures that are really clean, you know, like 70% one guy, 30% the other guy, you know, that are really, you know, you can see that. If they're 50-50, nobody really wants to mess with them. But forensic genealogy isn't real good with mixtures. CODIS is much better.
Aren't they getting way better now, though? Because I've heard people reference how they're able now to, in a mixture, they're starting to be able to separate out.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Is that
happening? There's certain people that I just had a big conversation with somebody who can do mixtures for genealogy, but now that he can separate the DNA and all the markers, he's got to make sure that it's compatible with the DNA databases. So that's what he's working on.
You know, it's interesting, right? Because you've always told me, like, we share 99% DNA, and then there's this other, whatever the number is, and then there's this other portion that we're all different. So when you're separating, you would probably have to find the same areas, but they're different, and then you can pull those apart. And then, you know, the areas that are different on the two people, you know, the 1%. So you might find like a section that is, you know, where ABCD is, and then over here is also where ABCD is. So you can, but it's different. You know, it's from a different, because right after the D is something else. Then you pull them apart. Now you have two individuals. Then you sort of have to build each one of them up or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how they do it, but it seems like that's the only way you could separate it would be to.
Yeah, this just got a question. Holly said, does FBI have genealogists? Yeah, they have trained genealogists to do this. They have some in-house genealogists.
Do you think they have the same level of skill as somebody like maybe Misty Gillis or you?
Well, there's a wide variety. Some, you know, do and some don't. So, and I see ANAP, hi ANAP. She's got a master's in science, in biology. Great. There's probably really good ones, and there's really not so good ones. And some people try it and don't, you know, go off onto something else. I'm not sure Misty is doing any forensic genealogy anymore. I think she might be. She's also been taken in by Finding Your Roots, you know, the
okay, yeah, that's cool.
So I think she's working for them. She may be doing part-time for Parabon. I'm not sure. But I know she's working for Finding Your Roots.
Well, here's one that said, would it be possible to get DNA from the saliva from the bite flashlight that might be on the porch? Well, I mean, it's obvious you could get DNA from.
Yeah.
If there was that, but what they're saying, I guess what they're trying to say, I don't think that anything dripped out of his mouth and landed on.
Yeah.
Of course, but maybe like people have said, you know, he has a flashlight in his mouth, right? So he has to take it out when he goes in to talk to Nancy. Yeah. And maybe he got DNA on his fingers and then grab something. What do you think of that?
Well, there's lots of ways.
I mean, in that case, because he had gloves on, he's nice and
yeah, he's got
pairs.
I don't know why has he got gloves and he's holding that camera like that. Yeah, they work. The FBI people work out. I think that's the question from, let's see, Jeff Siddall. I think that the FBI works out of Washington, I think Houston and LA. I think there's 3 centers there. So, yeah, I haven't heard many people on here talk about so much in detail about DNA. Well, I'm sorry to put you asleep. Yes, I do talk about DNA analysis.
Who said that?
I don't know. Space cadet test or something.
Oh yeah, is Gray a forensic technician or something similar? No.
No, he's saying no. He enjoys
I haven't
it.
heard many people on here talk so much in detail about DNA analysis. Oh, yeah. That sounds like good stuff.
Yeah. No, he has had on his.
I get a lot of training though from Dr. Fitzpatrick here. I think I understand the concept of it pretty well at this point.
Yeah,
I know how. I know that's why I know when I'm watching the news that they're full of crap 90% of the time. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's a step in the right direction. To know who's really saying something worth it and who's not. Right. So look at all those houses. Sorry, I'm just a little tired today, but look at all those houses.
Yeah, what's interesting is so look at these. This is dark skies neighborhood. They cannot have street lights. It's one of the huge problems in the case.
That's another problem.
And they're even ambient light, and every house is 1 story. And look at this. See how you can see all these houses, and it looks totally easy. Now watch this. You can't see a damn thing.
Yeah,
it is so like if you got a car and then, what camera is going to pick up a car on the road, given the shrubbery and everything that you have?
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare for investigators, really.
Yeah.
You couldn't have more issues. It's just, and look at this. So there's the front door, right? The camera was shooting out. There's a bush right there. So any car driving by, all you'd see is a light through the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unless you parked up here where I think they did, and that's why they removed the camera, because it's a close drag or whatever you're doing to the car there.
Yeah. And somebody said about the backpack being full. Yes, it was. So it wasn't a burglary.
Yeah, it was full before going in. But what if the backpack actually had bags to put stuff in? I don't think that was a
no.
I don't think it was a burglary. I think this was an abduction.
Yeah.
Planned from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And just
I
mean, what they were going to do, we don't know. I guess we don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, we don't. Right? Don't know. Can a person submit a profile that was analyzed somewhere else to these companies, or does it have to be a new physical sample? You can upload. You don't submit it to the companies. You submit it to GEDmatch and FTDNA for upload. If you have, if you're somewhere if you tested with Ancestry or one of those other companies, you can download your raw results and upload it to GEDmatch or FTDNA. Don't send it into one of the companies.
Yeah. And the thing is like what they were just saying there, can a person submit a profile? No, I mean, you'd have to have a connection to, what is it, that company called Bioinformatics or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Take a DNA profile and format it correctly to then be uploaded to GEDmatch.
Yeah. Just get yourself tested, with Ancestry, something like that if you really want to, and then post it on GEDmatch and FTDNA.
Well, maybe you can explain to them how, because we spit into a thing and it send it off, and it's like that. And law enforcement collects with a swab and gets a DNA profile. How are they able to then upload it the same way that you could if you downloaded your raw data from?
Because Bodie. Okay, I think I got the question. Bodie, if you want to do a target test, say you think you have a cousin or you don't know if it's mom's side or dad's side, so you want to test mom, you can buy what's called a target test from Bodie Cellmark, and you send it in, and they will process it and upload it to GEDmatch for you. The GEDmatch comes free. I think that's right. Yeah. And then Bodhi, that controls GEDmatch, Bodhi will, process it just like you said, and then upload. Now, if you test with Ancestry, you have to spit in a little cup.
Right. And in normal cases, they either have blood, semen, touch DNA.
Mm-hmm.
That's when law enforcement's using it. So it's like, in that case, they have to send the sample to one of these companies that create the raw data to upload, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
Is that what bioinformatics does too? Do they do that?
Yeah. The bioinformatics is part of all what happens between when you get the DNA sample and it arrives on the website. They kind of put it in the machine and crank the ice cream maker. And then when it comes out, then they have so much data, they kind of go through. And if there's holes in it, you have a little bit degraded data, they can fill in the holes. They know how to do that. So you have to kind of massage it a little bit, and then you put it on website. You don't put the whole genome there because that's 3 billion base pairs, 3 billion bits. So we only use 1.2 million of that. So they have to cut it down. They have to patch holes in it, stuff like that's going on.
Coco said, that's what I did for my father. I downloaded it from Ancestry and uploaded to GEDmatch. I found so many distant cousins. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I did it, it was a nightmare because when I somebody showed me how to do this investigative genealogy. I just started it, but I didn't keep going. But
yeah,
you get there, you get your highest centimorgan count. But I had one that was 600, and I didn't know who the hell it was. And it turns out it was my mom's sister's. One of my mom's sisters had a child that she gave up for adoption. What a horrible one to get right out of the gate, right? Like it's just.
Is your aunt still alive? I mean, did
my aunt's not alive anymore, but we met this lady. I was just lucky and knew who it was.
Yeah.
You just come forward about 3 years before I did this.
Okay.
So I could eliminate that, and then I went to the next highest centimorgan and I found some people with sort of similar names somewhere. But
yeah, I got DNA tested to see if I was adopted, but I wasn't. I was really.
Wish you were.
I know I wasn't adopted. I am the natural child of my parents, so it was kind of a little bit disappointing, But
that's what I'm saying. Did it make you feel bad when you found out that? Yep, those are your parents.
Yeah, I had to think about it. It's like families are complicated. I'm the white sheep of the family. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So
also everyone else was bad and you were the only good one.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they would dispute that remark, but that's the best way I can explain it. So anyway, I did that. Nope. Now I know the truth. It's awful, but yeah. I've had people, come to me for help and and I usually do, I say, do this, do that. I give a little bit of coaching. I had somebody who found out that this woman appeared on her list of matches and she didn't know who it was. And it turned out her mother had an affair with her dad's brother. So they had a baby, and therefore that girl who appeared would be my friend's like 3/4 sister, because they had the same mother and the fathers were brothers. It turns out to be a 3/4 sister or brother. In this case, a sister.
Yeah. You guys should go watch our interesting show we did on chimeras a long time ago.
Oh, that was really great.
Yeah, that was it's just so crazy. I mean, it's almost wild,
Yeah, Frank said, hi, Dante. Yeah, he says hi. Hi to you. I found out my stepbrother is actually my half-brother. Woo! Guess dad, stepmom, when they were both still married to other people. How about that? You can't get away with anything. Wow. I often wished I could find my biological parents, but sadly I was not adopted. That doesn't make sense, but okay. Let's see. Is true DNA sample can't be downloaded to CODIS unless verified. No, you can't. You can't upload anything with CODIS. It's completely restricted to law enforcement. Yeah, DNA has to be CODISed. Processed for CODIS in this local state or federal level. And then once it goes in, nobody talks about it anymore. So unless the police do. So I don't know.
CODIS, they just take the same 20 markers out of the DNA sequence.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's is a true DNA sample can't be downloaded to CODIS unless verified in the state of, that makes no sense. I don't know. We may have from Craigslist, they just haven't told us either way.
Oh, I know what they're saying. That last question.
Oh, what was it?
Today they said that the FBI can't upload to CODIS until they verify it by testing it in the state that it was found in.
Okay, I'm afraid I don't know about that. You can do well. The DNA was found in Arizona. Now you can do the federal level. It's just the state database, and I don't know what the laws are for that. The DNA was found in Arizona. It was not, the CODIS marker was not processed in Arizona, but the DNA was found in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is my theory? Oh, somebody says, what is my theory on what happened with the Nancy Guthrie case? Haven't we been talking about that for an hour and a half? Did I miss something?
You see why I love Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick? That's exactly what I always say. Like, I've already answered it 17 times, and then somebody goes, "So, Gray, what do you think about this?" That's why people are laughing right there. It's just, and everyone goes, "Gray, you're so mean." And it's like, no, I'm not. Could you just maybe you get here on time,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I need your comment several times. Then you were implying that. Okay, I guess so. I'm bad guy amongst here. Well, he might be listening on the show right now. We don't know. Really, seriously. Here's, can DNA be transferred from like a backpack to a storm door if, say, the guy was walking in the house and the storm door closed on him and hit the backpack? Then he might be DNA can just kind of come and go from anything. DNA can go through the laundry. It really, seriously, I could say, hey, Gray, how are you? Shake hands, say, nice to see you at the party, give you a hug, walk up the door, and next day something happens to me and Gray's DNA is on me, right? It's called situational stuff, like the situation comes into, into being important.
Yeah, touch DNA is a tricky deal, isn't it? Because and that's why it's really important where they get the touch DNA from, because if you got it off the doorknob, hell, you could have went to a McDonald's that a guy from China had just opened the door. You grab their hand, you come back home, you open your own door, you go in. Oh my God, there's a guy from China that was in here.
Well, it's kind of even better. The guy that we were talking about chimeras. The guy, his name was Chris Long, and he had a bone marrow transplant. And they measured how his DNA was there, the donor's DNA, and they found out his DNA never went away. So his DNA was in his hair always, and his donor's DNA was in his semen always. So it was kind of funny because if they have a kid, let's say, and the kid commits some crime theoretically, then the mother is exactly who you think she is. And that would be Chris Long's wife. But then when you look at Chris Long as the father, it's going to be some like flight attendant from Germany, who's 20 years younger. So a normal person would conclude that Chris Long's wife was playing around, right? But in reality, he's a chimera because he had the bone marrow transplant.
Yeah, I mean that's what we were talking about one time was the chimeras. If you get there's some people when they get a bone transplant. Yeah, it actually changes your DNA, the DNA of your semen, to the DNA of the donor. So you could literally have, like, let's say a black person was the donor, and then you had a child with your wife after you got that transplant. It might be a mixed baby, and then you would absolutely believe that your wife cheated on you, but it turns out that nobody cheated on anybody, right? It was just you had the DNA from the donor.
Well, it's, I told this before, I must have told it before, that a man and his wife went to a clinic to conceive a baby. They had problems. So they got this really nice baby, no problems. So they went to go have it checked out medically, get all the tests, and they found out first pass that the baby did not share any DNA with the father. So then, so they went back to the clinic with their attorney, and the clinic, checked it out that yes, it was the right material, everything was just fine. And then they did a second DNA test, high resolution, and they found out that the father had only 25% of his DNA in common with the baby. And so what they figured out was the father actually had been conceived as a twin, a fraternal twin, and he had absorbed the other twin. So he was a chimera, and the DNA in the sperm that went into fertilizing that baby was his brother's DNA, and that brother had never existed. He was the uncle of the baby that he conceived with his wife.
See, that's something that's like, you put that in a movie, people would laugh at you. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it happened. Somebody asked, why do you use mitochondria a lot? Well, you don't use it all the time, but if you have really degraded DNA, you have lots and lots and tons of mitochondrial DNA, and it's really a lot easier to get mitochondria for something that's all, wrecked up, badly degraded DNA than it is from, than it is normal, the chromosomes and stuff, autosomal DNA. So you use mitochondrial because it's these DNA in these little floaties outside the nucleus. There's like maybe up to 1,000 of these little floaties. And they used to think they were independent bacteria like millions of years ago. So they have their own DNA. They float around. They have 5 to 10 copies of their own DNA in there. So you could have 5,000 copies of mitochondria to work with and one of each chromosome. So there you go. Why not go after the mito first?
Yeah, I was just that earlier when it said there was a twin and then the other one consumed it.
Mm-hmm.
Was it just the sperm that was from the DNA from the one that he consumed, but the rest of it was himself,
Yeah, right. Well, we don't know the rest of it. What does that mean?
What does that mean? Yeah, what does that mean?
It wasn't just, his sperm. It was, the other DNA was somewhere else in him. So
like even the rest of, but the whole sperm DNA turns out to be the consumed brother, right? But then throughout the rest of his body, there's got to be some other DNA that's split too, right?
Yes, he would be called a chimera, or also mosaic is also a way to think about it. Mosaic of a couple of different kinds of DNA.
It's like a conjoined twin that never.
Yeah, that never is a conjoined DNA. Yeah, and it's funny, they have the same mother, so the mitochondria, whatever happened, would be the same. You'd never notice it. It's only the chromosomes, autosomal, the rest of the chromosomes that, the brother would have the same Y DNA, but the rest of it would be different.
Hey, we do have a super chat question. Do you think the criminal has done this before?
Sorry, he's not in CODIS, so we don't know if he did or not.
Well, he could be in CODIS. We just don't have the DNA. The person at the door, I guess, could be, right? But it's does he appear the way he does it? It does seem he's pretty casual, like he's done something before.
That bothers me. That he's so casual and not worried about somebody, being in the neighborhood or driving by. That bothers me. It just bothers me. You think he'd be a little bit more nervous kidnapping somebody famous like that.
Right.
Mom of somebody famous. So I don't know.
Let's see. What do we got in here?
Yeah, any more?
You're a Y-DNA expert before doing it. I mean.
Yeah. So he's standing at somebody's door at 2:00 in the morning. You think you'd be nervous? If somebody's out here, it would be nervous. It would. Yeah.
He wasn't at all. I think he knew that there was this old person in the house and they were sleeping.
I don't think he was high on drugs. He didn't move that way. He didn't seem to be that way. He just seemed to be a normal guy that
Yeah, well, I think a lot of times on where people want to like overanalyze stuff to a degree where you end up like sometimes when you listen to audio, you start hearing things. And then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you're watching a video, you start seeing things. You start going, oh, look at he's limping. Oh, his right hand seems to be, it's the same. Well, his left hand looked this, it just gets to the point where it's like over analysis paralysis instead of just sort of just look what's going on in the video. That's what's happening. I know everybody wants to help and solve it by finding something in the video that nobody else saw.
Yeah.
But it just isn't really.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So look, I'm going to have to go, guys. I'm very tired. I have like an early start tomorrow. I've enjoyed
She stayed on a half hour longer than she was gonna. Okay.
Oh, I would stay forever. I'm just hungry and I'm ready to fall over, so I just had a long day and tomorrow's not going to be any different. So I just got back from New Orleans, with the American Academy of Forensic Science conference I go every year. And it was also Mardi Gras, and also I'm from New Orleans. So I had a lot to do, a lot of catch up, to do. So I'm still I got back at Sunday at midnight. So I'm just not even more midnights into it, yes. So I'll come back maybe.
We'll have you on Friday.
Yeah.
Friday with Fitz.
Yeah. We'll have to do that. We kind of lost track over the holidays.
Yeah. Well, you need to get the updates. I'm not sure where we're at in those other cases, but we've been waiting in line for a while. I don't know if you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let me maybe Friday or during. Yeah, I'll be glad to. Let's see what happens during the week, and maybe we'll have more to talk about. How about that?
Yeah.
Give me a buzz during the week, okay? We'll see what's going on.
All right.
Okay, bye, freaks. I've enjoyed it. I'm really
glad. See you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just dead tired. I'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye. All right, now it's just me on here. Let me see if I can go back to how do I get my regular screen up here? Oh, wait. Yeah, I go over to this one. And then can I just add that to the... Oh, look at that. Bam. Right back to the old school. Okay, let me get my audio. So I'm going to turn off the echo cancellation and then go over here, boost it up. I'm probably really quiet because they usually knock this sucker. Look, I don't know if you guys can see this, but look at this right here. See how far they bring down the audio? So testing. There you go. Boom. Right there. Well, hey, thanks up there to Riley Doggy and Charlotte Denny, but also, mainly thank you to Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick. We've been funding for, gosh, I don't know, it seems like 7 years now or so. Genealogy, or IGG, maybe more like 6 years or something like that. And we've given over 100,000 to the DNA Fund for identifying Jane and John Does. Probably the coolest one we ever did was Daniel Armentrout, 1960s, an individual who was hitchhiking, and the person picked him up hitchhiking, and then he drove off the driver drove off. His car slid on a bridge and went into the water, and this individual died. And they didn't know who the hell it was. There was a RY plus love scratched on the arm. There was a picture of some girl in a wallet, but there was no ID. There was nothing to identify him. So they ended up burying him, but they would always put articles, and people would put flowers on the grave for 60 years. And then, we paid for it. It cost like 10 grand because it was really difficult DNA, and it ended up pretty interesting how it all came together. I had an FBI document that I gave to Misty Gillis, and something in that document was something that was mentioned by one of the about how he might have walked, and then it was just pretty crazy how it all came together. And we ended up identifying him. His brother was still alive, living in Florida. And this happened, I think it was Alabama, maybe. That's what it seems like. And, and then his brother came, and he he didn't take his remains or anything. He left them right there because he said the town had treated him so well. And now his name is on the gravestone. It used to just say like John Doe or something, or maybe it was, I'm not sure exactly how they worded it, but now it says Daniel Armentrout on there, and it turns out his brother, the brother that showed up, they have another brother, a third brother, that's been missing since that same time frame. I always thought, how crazy would it be if someday we do another identification and it turns out to be the brother. I mean, my God, that would be like 1 in a billion if something like that. Yeah. Anyways, that was a cool feeling. We were in the papers, and the sheriff said, what did he say? He said something, it was pretty cool. He goes, "Angels unaware." I was like, "Angels unaware." And then he said he wanted to thanks to all you freaks do. That's what the I think it might have either the sheriff or mayor of that small little town. That's what he said. "I want to thank you freaks for all you do." All right. Anyways, thanks up there to Riley and Charlotte Denny. Something if we could see if we can get one more challenge or something in here. It was a really challenging day. I did a whole live stream earlier. We brought in $8.98. And then I did another live stream after that, and I think it was less than 100. So we were at like 90, 100. And then I did a video on YouTube with very few people watching. So that one collapsed right out of the gate. And then we did this show, and we're just sort of struggling along. Although it did pretty good right here at the end. I mean, we got past the goal. We weren't even at the minimum goal. Right now we are... just not even just sort of a good night. It's just average. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. I take a large portion. It's usually I'd say about 30% of the gross income that comes in to the channel every month, and I donate it to true crime related charities. All right. And that's how it works. And we've given 200. Wait, what are we at? Not 200. What the hell's the number now? No, it is 284,000. I'm not sure where my brain was. 284,000. So way over $250,000 we've given out to true crime related charities, which is $250,000 more than JLR and its little clowns that sit there with their and they make thousands and thousands of dollars every single day. All right. So at least we do something different out here. So any chance we can get one more challenge of some sort by somebody else out there, that'd be great. Thank you. I used to set goals, but like the goals, when you set a goal, I know what the minimum goal level is over here, but when you set one, I've noticed that as soon as somebody sees it up on the screen, there's no more support for the channel. And if the minimum goal that I have set wouldn't make it so I could ever donate any money at the end of the month. So I just try to let you guys know where we're at, and then if we get more than that, that's great. If not, then we're not. Let's see. Wow, I wish you promoted your charity work. Well, that's what people say. People don't care. The trolls out there, they really don't give a damn at all. They just say, "Oh, that gray guy, he's always trying to..." Yeah. All right, so you guys have any questions about this case here? But please hear what I just said. We need more support for the channel tonight. Thank you. I don't know. Somehow there was 4th century was mentioned early on. But gray what? Yeah, I mean, I used to have like a minimum goal is like bringing in 250 on the screen that you see. Now, YouTube takes 30%, so that would be like 170. Multiply that times 30, and what do you get? Yeah, I wouldn't be able to donate a nickel. So we don't do it. I use ad revenue, super chats, the Annie, the gifted memberships, all that stuff goes in there. Yeah, well, I know that you don't think it looks like it because you've seen a close-up of it. But none of us has seen anything. We don't know how he got in. He said forced entry originally, and I'm going to go with that. I mean, when you say, what are your thoughts on the perp hitting her with the gun to scare her or threaten her? I don't have any thoughts on that. We have no evidence that he hit her in the face with the gun. He could have just punched her or whatever he did. We don't know. So I don't have any thoughts on it because I don't have any knowledge of that happening. Yeah, if people renew, it's good. Yeah, but a lot of people just wait for the next free one that they get the next month. What are you? Let's see. Watching from Australia. Sweet. All right, I got to go use the restroom real quick. So I don't know. See, again, doesn't seem like anybody listened to what I just said. So we're gonna have to. Not that one. Let me put this. I'll play that. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for being here tonight. We're going to go ahead and get going here. So, thank you to, so we got Melody M, Wild Bill Wassman. We got Alley Cake, and then AJ Felt, and Curtis West. We Say Howdy here, Sandy Shirley. Patty Ann, then we had Michelle H, Patty Annie, Wild Bill Wassman gifted 5, and then we had let's see, Tracy Van Brott, Michael, let's see, Mike Clayton. Yeah, every time, man. Super Sally, Fragilistic, Pillock, and then Coco Love, Cheryl Bullock, SBA, Bun E22, Bunny 22, something like that, or E22, Timothy Cecil, Southern Mom, Timothy Cecil gifted 5. Then we had Wild Bill Wassman. Thanks, Wild Bill Wassman, for trying to, you know, making as good as we could tonight. Seemed like other people just weren't interested. Then we had Coco Love, and then Alley Cake, Jessica Schubach, SBA, and Allie K. Bengal Cat Chili, SBA, Charlotte Denny. Then we had Riley Doggy, thank God for that one, and SBA 710. Yeah, we've done other DNA cases, many of them. One of them was a serial killer victim. We paid for that one too. Everybody else was identified. It was the only one that wasn't identified, and when she was identified, the family didn't want her name out there, but at least we gave the family, gave her name back, and the family knew where she was. And, a whole bunch, like, I think we're up to like 6 or 7 total. So you guys, what made tonight so much different? Like, where it's just another struggle, even though we talk about it all the time, it's just struggle, struggle, struggle. Anybody explanation? Was it that bad? Was the show not interesting for you guys? Or... It's weird. Really strange stuff. Now you have like the most interesting guests you could ever have on, and you guys just, sounds like this. In my head. Right. So thanks for those who did help support today. That's really nice. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, so fantastic that, it's just such a crazy thing. When she comes on, it's one of the more interesting shows we ever have, but the support when she shows up, even though you guys know what we're doing, is always low. What the hell's going on with that? It's weird. It's embarrassing. It's like, wow, okay, she's... you got your best guest on, the best guest, but then the support when the guest comes on is like that, and I just don't get it. I've actually talked on the side about that, the same thing every single time. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, let's see. Right, but once the distraction's over, wouldn't you think then people would support? Because, hey, wow, that was great. Instead, it's just, it's unreal. I'm not going to, this would be the time where people would do it, not during the show with the guest on. I don't know who the people were in the chat that just kept texting her. That's the strangest thing I've ever seen. Put it in here. You don't need to give your theories over a phone where she's got to read it. It's kind of rude, actually. Let's see. Right, but I mentioned it. I typed it in the chat like 10 times during it. And even at the end of the show, I said, hey, you guys, if you guys could help support the channel, we do these shows like this, whatever. And it had no effect at all. So what difference would it have made during the show? You see, there's nothing. Wouldn't have made anything. It's crazy. Yeah, 235 likes. We had 400. I mean, it's weird how it works like that. Well, thanks, Bun. But yeah, I mean, it's frustrating. I mean, I don't know why it's like that. You guys? It's like, what do I do to get people to help? I mean, it's weird. I'll do a show, just me, and we're just blabbing away and going, and I do better. But when I, have somebody on that's way more interesting, I mean, just like, didn't you find that incredibly interesting, listening to her? She knows way more than any of those people you see on any of the channels out there, or any of the networks, any of those people that are talking. She knows 1,000 times more. She invented the damn thing. And I hope you understand why it's frustrating. Seems like it should make sense. Yeah, and I saw the couple PayPals came in. I was going to mention those. So we had Jolene and let's see, it was also Sandy Shirley. So thank you for that. And then we also had Lisa Valenzuela's, I don't know if you call it a half bucket of coffee or a bucket of coffee. I don't know. Anyways, that's just the way I just tell you guys the truth. If you want me to pretend I don't feel a certain way, then I'll try to do that, but I'm not like that. A video? I actually saw a real lizard. Yeah, we see them. What do you mean a real lizard? I mean, they're all over the place. Aren't they? In Australia? Or, well, you're not. Never mind. We have them over here in lots of places too. Took the video 2 hours ago. Yeah, we have like blue. If you go to Arizona, New Mexico, there's lizards all over the place. Yeah, what kind of is this? Like just like an iguana or what is it? Oh, it's a monitor, like a right. It's like a monitor of some sort. I probably related to one of those. That's like those closest to dinosaurs that you can get right there. What are those other ones called? The ones that take down buffalo. They're sort of similar looking, but they're way bigger. Like the hell are those things? The dragon something, Komodo dragons or something. Oh, it's all hidden now. Yeah, I just said that. I just remembered. Apparently, they bite animals, and then their mouths have so much like bacteria, it infects, and they just sort of follow the animal around until it dies. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, thanks up there, Bun. I guess it makes it so it's sort of, reasonable show, I guess. Lizards are so cool, yeah. Yeah, I just said that. Yeah, they got bacteria that they bite them, and then they get infected and die, and then they come over and they eat them. While the animal's still alive, generally. Like it's dying, but they're eating whatever the hell they want to eat. They don't, like, at least lions, a lot of times, or they'll kill the animal first, but hyena, the other kind of animals sometimes don't give a damn. They just, like crocodiles, they don't care. They don't even have a brain that's bigger than a walnut. It's tiny, a little tiny thing. Yeah, hit that like button. So, I don't know. Tim Trolls. When we were kids, we lived in New Mexico, in Santa Fe. My dad was an artist. We lived up in this adobe house. And, man, we had... one time we found a Gila monster. One time we... Black Widow. One time there was a Black Widow and a wolf spider fighting in our living room. And you'd find Black Widows, and then you'd find, like, the blue tail, the swifts. If you grab them by the tail, their tail comes off. But the tail keeps wiggling. And then the rest of it runs away, and then it grows back. And then we found the horny toads. My brother found a full obsidian arrowhead just right on our property one time. It was really weird. Like when it rained really hard, it'd create these arroyos, all this water rushing really fast, and then it would take just normal ground and turn it into like a 4-foot miniature canyon deep. And inside that, you'd find these geodes. Unbelievable stuff in there. It's weird. All these fun things you used to do when we were kids. There was a big YouTube outage. I saw it. I wasn't able to go to my homepage. It still worked. You could still stream, I guess. Nah, we had 400 and something in here. That was okay. It would have been great, though, if it wasn't down. We'd have, with Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick on, especially on this case, I think people would have wanted to hear it. It's weird. The YouTube chat's so different than what's live over on StreamYard. Feels like it misses stuff over here on one side or the other. Hey, Coco, are you still out there? It's fun. I always think it's funny when I make her laugh. Because I actually try to make people laugh, and some of you don't, and some do. I'm stung by a scorpion 13 times. That's a lot. Yeah. Let's see. Some of us couldn't get on your channel. Yeah? Why couldn't you get... Well, what you have to do is you have to like search for me on YouTube. Then you could do it. But if you go to your main page, it wouldn't show up. You know? Mm-hmm. Well, the only thing new in the Guthrie case is things that they... they said that there was the DNA on the glove that they found and the DNA in the house, both were not in CODIS, which means now you have to do IGG on that. There was other stuff too. I can't remember exactly what it was. I did a show on it earlier. Anyways, wouldn't you guys... I just want to ask you guys, wouldn't you guys feel the same frustration when I try to explain it? Because I feel like I'm just being honest. It's just sort of a weird feeling like that. Let's see. Yeah, because I couldn't even see anything. I went to my homepage and then I clicked on some other stuff and I was able to see things. The Oompa Loompas, you mean? When? I guess not. Maybe the kidnapper hit the wrong house. I don't know. Well, anyways. She might... I think we'll have her back on again. Probably be about this case. There'll probably be some updates, and then she can give us updates on our cases that we funded. I think we've got like 15,000 over there that's waiting to be used on different cases. Yeah, I wonder why they... Well, I don't want people to feel like they have to do anything. I just think it's strange where, you come on and you bring on a really good guest, and you think that would be one of your better nights, but instead it's been like that many times in the same situation. Don't know. I always hope, well, maybe one time, and maybe tonight was just bad luck, the YouTube outage, and who knows. It was when we sang the Oompa Loompa. Oh yeah, that was so dumb. The one that faked it all. Well, I don't know. How long have they been on here for? Now, 2 hours and 4 minutes. All right. How do we do it? I was just thinking, man, how do we do another hour? I mean, I don't mind answering questions if you got questions. Or you want to, there's people out there that have these theories that are so detailed And those are the ones that just really have almost no shot at being true, you know. When you start going through so many different, you know, this and this and this and this and this and this, and then it keeps going and going. I'm actually supposed to call somebody that has a theory. I was wondering why I have to call, though. Couldn't you just type it in? And... Well, that it wouldn't even be that they'd be caught through genealogy. See, right now, the DNA is so ambiguous, except we don't know. I think the DNA in the house is their best shot. And you'll probably start hearing that mentioned. Because that's what the logic would tell you, that the DNA in the house that they collected that is unknown is a better chance of being the perpetrator than a random glove found 2 miles away that looks similar to a glove, and that's the only connection, is that it looks similar. All right, so the DNA in the house doing IGG would have a much better chance of finding somebody. Yeah, well, you know, I guess, you know, if you look at it, can you really blame the sheriff at this point? Because the FBI's been there the whole damn time, and they're not doing any better. Okay? And it's not because the sheriff withheld something. They have access to every damn thing they do. They get notified at the same time. Did it match CODIS? No. I don't know. I don't even know what a profiler could get on this one with the... Well, they would have more information to go by looking at what happened inside the house. But anybody on social media that is pretending they can profile this person without having all the information. It's like I thought it was hilarious when I was watching... Again, I was watching TV, and I think it was like this expert, actually. You know, somebody you see all the time. They said, oh, yeah, they're going to be able to come up with a nice sketch off of that, too. Watch, they're going to produce a sketch of what this guy looks like. And that's just foolish, you know. Anybody creating sketches off of... Let me see. Let's go back to that. Yeah. Anybody that thinks they can create a sketch off of like a person wearing a balaclava and just a hole for the mouth and holes for the nose, it's false. Okay? And then, I mean, tell me how that would work. How would you... What if the person had a birthmark on their forehead? You can't see it. What if one of their bottom lips is missing, or they... I mean, even who cares? Even if they had a normal face, you can't see it. You have a balaclava on their face, on their head. Yeah, there's just no way you can do it. Yeah, that was crazy, the Long Island serial killer. How that just kind of, one day, they got something. And I think didn't they figure it out through the hairs, finally, using genealogy? Yeah, it's just pure guessing. But yeah, these people doing sketches with parted hair on the left and right, yeah. Yeah, does anybody think she's still alive? Yeah. Oh, yeah? So you guys are all having problems. Bun, you had a problem too? Huh. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, people did end up finding us here. And we had 400 and some odd people watching at one point. Which isn't terrible for me, but I mean, we've had 700 people lately. Yeah, I don't think I think the likelihood of her being alive now is pretty low. But yeah, we only have 2,900 views total, so that's pretty bad, yeah. Especially with a guest like that. Just bad luck, I guess, with YouTube. Mm-hmm. Have we discussed that the sheriff's brother died? Yeah, we talked about that. I didn't get a notification you were on this time. Usually you do. Yeah. I saw something online that said YouTube was down, and then I realized, okay, then the problem I was having going to my homepage wasn't legit. Is it still down? Same deal? Let's see. If I click on your channel. Dashboard. Yeah, dashboard doesn't work. Still. No, now it does. Okay, there we go. I see it. I think it's just a kidnapping for whatever reason. You know what makes more sense now is just somebody kidnapped her for whatever reason they kidnapped her for. It wasn't for a ransom, and that's where we're at. You know, whether it was for a grudge, stalking, or some other thing, you know, unfortunately, you know, maybe a sexual assault. I know people think that sounds ridiculous, but absolutely happens to people that age. Yeah, I did 2 shows earlier, and I don't think notifications went out on some of those. I mean, they were just really poor turnout. And then I put out a video that had 80 people watching on the Idaho 4 case. And then I did this show, and this one had a decent amount of people watching, but it was just a really, from my point of view, a depressing struggle all day long. You know. Yeah, let's see if we can find one of those old ones. Let's see, newspapers.com. Let's see, woman abducted from elderly woman abducted from home. Let's see if that shows up. I guess I have to, oh yeah, I have to use, I think I used this one. Alright, let's see. It's probably an interesting story right there. I don't know if this even exists. If I put a quotes around it, it would have to be that exact phrase. So I think it's better just to say, just leave it right there. And then see what we can find. An escaped convict has been charged with abducting a 72-year-old woman and beating her unconscious during a wild 140-kilometer trip to Toronto. Police captured prisoner Paul Morgan. Donald, who had been beaten into unconsciousness during her ordeal, managed to call for help. She's a very lucky lady, said Toronto police detective. Morgan, 40, faces numerous charges in connection with the escape, police said. Hey, thanks, Smush LH. Considered armed and extremely dangerous, Morgan had been serving a life sentence for the 1973 murder of a pregnant Kitchener woman. Morgan escaped from the Warwick institution east of Petersboro Wednesday morning by concealing himself in the back of a delivery van. He was arrested at 8:35. I wonder what his motive was there. That was 95. Then we got this one here. Police say a skeleton found Monday afternoon behind the Boys and Girls Club here may be that of an elderly woman abducted from her home in August. Police say Cipriana Rodriguez, 84, ironically, was taken August 29th from her home in the 200 block of South 17th Street, about 1,000 feet from where the skeleton was found in the 300 block. Rodriguez's grandson Jerry Park stood by as dusk fell, and when Donna police and FBI agents dug by spotlight for parts of the skeleton. Jeez, I mean, what happened to that one? Here, let me. Yeah. Now I got to figure out what happened on that one. So let's see. It was Cipriana. That's only going to be in the paper once. Okay, and then this is, what date is this? So how about November 1994? And that date of this one is the 1st. Officials identify the body of that of abducted woman. Family and friends gathered Monday at a local funeral home, so it was that woman. Pathologist Ruben Santos of McAllen positively identified the skeleton as Rodriguez. What made him think she was abducted? He said his wife made 2 attempts to drop off. Oh, wow. FBI agents have refused to comment on the case since Capriana Rodriguez disappeared in August. Donna Municipal Judge Jose Garza Capriana Rodriguez, the son-in-law, says his family was contacted by kidnappers asking for ransom money several times since the abduction. Garza said he believes the kidnappers are from Rio Bravo, Mexico. Oh, jeez. Now that would fit some of the people's stories out there. He said his wife made 2 attempts to drop off ransom money in Nuevo Progreso, Mexico, and jeez, this story got interesting, didn't it? And gave the money to a young man on a bike. He said the money had been, they could have just been trying to get money though, had been returned to his family by authorities, and he believes someone was apprehended in Rio Bravo, Mexico in connection with Capriano Rodriguez kidnapping. All right, let's see. So that was on the 8th. Is there anything later? Yeah, let's look at this. So you can click over here and then you can just show the ones in November. Well, there's one on the 9th. All right, let's see if there's any. If I just go 1994, and does it show any other years now? Oh, I gotta put the quotes. That was November. Yeah, so I don't think she's ever in there again. I mean, you can go 1995 to 2020. Okay, there was something in 97 there. So they reactivated. Their only unsolved case for 1994, the mysterious death of 84-year-old restaurant owner Cipriana Rodriguez. Family members reported the victim abducted on August 29th after discovering a note written in Spanish indicating Rodriguez had been kidnapped and that they would contact her daughter, Sylvia Garza. 2 months later, on October 31st, children playing ball behind the Boys and Girls Club near her home found Rodriguez's skeleton remains in a shallow grave behind some shrubbery. Donna Chief Geringer said Tuesday that investigators had a meeting on the case that very morning and described the follow-up on a few pending leads. Yeah, I bet you that was fake. Anyways, there you go. That was basically... I just think it's fun just to kind of go down the rabbit hole on some of those. Let's see. Elderly woman abducted. There's 1974. An elderly woman abducted by a hitchhiker. I'll maybe go from home. I think that's what I'm looking for right there. That should be in there somewhere. All right. Well, here's one from... Well, that one's from 1939. 2001. Did we go over this one the other day? Authorities are waiting on forensic reports to decide if they will charge a local man with capital murder in the death of an elderly woman abducted from her home this weekend. The body of 77-year-old Margaret Snellgrove was discovered by a cadaver dog around 9 a.m. Wednesday off Crittenden Street in Johntown. She was found partially covered with debris in a ravine not far from a pond. Snellgrove had been missing from her... I think we talked about this one. Residents since early Friday. Police have identified 25-year-old Emmanuel Gissendaner as the prime suspect after several eyewitnesses saw him driving Snellgrove's 1998 Oldsmobile. In addition, he cast a check of hers. So these are all the things that you think of in this case, but it just... Yeah, I think we did that one too. All right. Anyways, you guys have any thoughts? I know it bores people to ever look into something different, so they just bail if it's not... You're not talking every second about, you know, Nancy's case, you know. Anybody here? It's dead as a doornail. Well, I think it's about time to call it a night. All right, you guys. Thanks up there to Michelle H. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Who the hell knows what tomorrow will bring? Hopefully something better than today. But anyways, thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. And thanks, everybody, for supporting the channel.
I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, like rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me.
It wasn't too bad. It was just too many shows.
Is my nectar
or just an average
give
day.
Another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector, fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his spectre. With all respect, y'all, just remember
Yeah, it was a good show. Just didn't
I have
produce.
no agenda. I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work.
I mean, the show was today was, you know, productive. I was doing shows. I did a show earlier. I did another show after that. I did a video, put a lot of new photographs out in the Idaho 4 case, and then I did a whole nother live stream. I guess the part that didn't work out too well is it wasn't one of our best days whatsoever. I mean, this month it was just really average, and to work that much in one day, it's sort of frustrating, you know. I think you'd feel exactly the same way. But it is what it is, man. That damn YouTube shut down. All right, see you guys.
Be safe out there.
Thank you for watching Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube, where we cover true crime using common sense, logic, reason, and the facts of the cases. Thank you very much for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Bye. See you around.
You pieces of shit got to the jury, didn't you? We were all Richard Allen!
1.21 gigawatts.
What the hell is a gigawatt?
I'm not a big fan of his brain.